a new way of seeing. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself why, despite working harder and harder, true peace and fulfillment still feel so far away? You wake up early, push through long days, fill your calendar with tasks, and keep adding goals on top of goals. Yet, at the end of it all, instead of feeling accomplished, you feel tired, restless, and unsatisfied. The reason is simple but profound. Success is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right things. And sometimes, doing less can help you achieve so much more. The problem is that we are raised in a culture that glorifies busyness. From the time we are children, we are told that if we are not constantly moving, we are lazy. If we are not always producing, we are falling behind. But what if this belief is upside down? What if constant motion is not the proof of success, but the very reason so many people feel lost, burned out, and disconnected? Think of it this way. Imagine a person running in circles. From the outside, it looks like they are working hard. Their body is sweating, their heart is racing, and their legs are moving fast. But in truth, they are going nowhere. This is the trap of overdoing, mistaking activity for achievement. You can be endlessly busy without ever truly progressing. On the other hand, consider the person who moves with clarity. They do less, but everything they do is intentional. Every step they take is aligned with their purpose. They may appear slower on the surface, but they arrive at their destination faster because they are not wasting energy on distractions. This is the art of doing less. It is not laziness, but mastery. When you do less, you allow yourself to focus. You begin to separate what is essential from what is noise. Just like a gardener who removes weeds so that flowers can grow, you clear away the unnecessary so that what truly matters can thrive. Doing less. S is about creating space for depth, for meaning, and for success that is not shallow but lasting. This shift in perspective is a new way of seeing life. It challenges the old story that hustle alone brings happiness. It opens the door to a wiser way of living, where presence matters more than pressure and focus matters more than frenzy. So I invite you to reflect. What would happen if you stopped scattering your energy on everything and started directing it toward the few things that truly matter? What would happen if you stopped measuring your worth by how much you do and started measuring it by how deeply you live? The truth is, you do not need to do more to become more. You need to do less, but with awareness, with intention, with love. For when you master the art of doing less, you discover that you achieve not only more in your work, but also more peace, more clarity, and more joy in your life. The trap of overdoing. We live in a world addicted to busyness. Everywhere you look, people are rushing, multitasking, and filling every moment with activity. Society has trained us to equate being busy with being successful. We celebrate the one who works late into the night, who juggles 10 different responsibilities at once, who never seems to stop. We hear phrases like, "I'm swamped," "I barely slept," or "I'm working 24/7." And instead of concern, we treat these words as badges of honor. But here is the truth. Overdoing is not strength. It is a trap. The trap begins with the illusion that more activity equals more progress. We believe that if we are doing 100 things at once, we must be advancing faster than others. Yet what actually happens is the opposite. When you scatter your energy across too many directions, you lose focus. You start many things but finish few. You move constantly, but without clarity. Like pouring water into too many cups, you end up emptying yourself without truly filling anything. Think about how most people spend their days. The alarm rings and the rush begins. Emails, phone calls, deadlines, errands, meetings, scrolling through endless notifications, all in the name of productivity. By evening, exhaustion sets in. And yet, when you look back at the day, how much of what was done actually mattered? How many of those tasks brought you closer to your true goals? How much of that busyness was simply noise? The trap of overdoing is especially dangerous because it feels productive. When you're busy, you feel important. You feel like you're moving forward. But busyness without purpose is like running on a treadmill. You burn energy, you sweat, you tire yourself out, but you remain in the exact same place. Worse still, overdoing comes with a heavy cost. It drains your health, leaving you exhausted and stressed. It steals time from your relationships, leaving you disconnected from those you love. It numbs your spirit, leaving you restless, even in moments of so-called success. Many people reach the top of the ladder of achievement only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall all along. Nature gives us a different lesson. Trees do not grow by rushing. Rivers do not flow by forcing. The heart does not beat non-stop. It rests between pulses. Yet we, in our obsession with doing more, try to defy this rhythm. And in doing so, we lose the balance that life itself is built upon. The trap of overdoing convinces us that we are on the path to greatness, when in reality, we are only exhausting ourselves. True strength is not about doing everything. It is about doing what matters. True success is not measured by the length of your to-do list, but by the depth of your purpose. So pause and reflect. Are you truly moving forward, or are you just keeping yourself busy? Breaking free from the trap of overdoing is the first step to mastering the art of doing less, and in doing so, achieving so much more. The power of doing less. Doing less is often misunderstood. Many people think it means being lazy, careless, or unambitious. But in reality, doing less is not about giving up. It is about focusing on what truly matters. It is about recognizing that your energy, time, and attention are limited, and therefore must be directed toward what has the deepest meaning. When you master the art of doing less, you begin to discover that your life becomes sharper, stronger, and far more impactful. Think of a magnifying glass. When light is scattered, it provides only warmth. But when that same light is concentrated through the lens, it gains power. So much power that it can ignite fire. Your life is the same. When your energy is scattered across too many tasks, you feel tired and unfulfilled. But when you focus your energy on fewer, more meaningful actions, your results multiply. Doing less allows you to live with precision, like the magnifying glass that turns ordinary sunlight into something extraordinary. Consider how nature teaches this truth. A tree does not try to grow 100 branches overnight. It focuses first on strengthening its roots. The river does not force itself to flow in every direction. It carves a single path, steady and consistent, until it reaches the ocean. By doing less, nature achieves more. It thrives not through rushing, but through alignment and purpose. When you simplify your actions, you also clear your mind. Clarity comes when you let go of what is unnecessary. Often, people chase too many goals at once, spreading themselves thin. The result is stress without satisfaction. But when you focus on fewer goals, you can give them your full attention. You can dive deeper rather than skimming the surface. This depth creates excellence, and excellence always brings greater rewards than shallow effort spread too thin. Doing less also creates space for rest, reflection, and creativity. When your schedule is crammed with endless activity, your mind has no time to breathe. But when you simplify, you allow silence to enter. And in that silence, new ideas, insights, and solutions begin to arise. Some of the world's greatest discoveries were not made in the middle of frantic hustle, but in moments of pause. Stillness creates breakthroughs. The power of doing less is also spiritual. When you quiet the noise of constant activity, you reconnect with yourself. You begin to hear the whisper of intuition, the guidance of your heart, the voice of the divine. In doing less, you make room for being more present, more peaceful, more aligned with your true path. So remember, doing less is not losing. It is choosing wisely. It is trading noise for clarity, quantity for quality, chaos for peace. And in that choice, you unlock a hidden strength. For when you master the art of doing less, you don't just accomplish more tasks. You create a life of depth, meaning, and true success. True wisdom from the masters. Throughout history, the greatest masters of life have shown us that true success is not found in endless activity, but in focused simplicity. They remind us again and again that the art of doing less is not weakness, but wisdom. It is not about abandoning effort, but about aligning effort with purpose. Take the story of the Buddha. For years, he sought enlightenment through extreme effort, fasting, self-denial, and relentless striving. Yet wisdom did not come through overdoing. It came when he chose stillness, sitting quietly beneath the Bodhi tree. By doing less, he allowed truth to reveal itself. His awakening shows us that chasing endlessly blinds us, but slowing down and simplifying opens the door to clarity. Consider the life of Jesus. Surrounded by crowds, constantly teaching and healing, he often withdrew into the mountains or wilderness. These pauses were not escapes from responsibility, but renewals of strength. He understood that to give fully, he had to pause, to pray, to simplify his being. His example teaches that sometimes the greatest work you can do for the world comes from the silence of your own soul. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, also embraced this wisdom. Before his mission began, he spent time in solitude in the cave of Hira. Away from the busyness of Mecca, he found clarity in stillness. The revelation that shaped history came not in noise, but in silence. This shows us that the most powerful guidance often comes when we strip away distractions and embrace simplicity. In the East, sages and monks followed the same path. The yogis of India practiced renunciation, not to abandon life, but to experience it more deeply. By doing less, by letting go of unnecessary desires, they discovered the richness of being. Zen monks in Japan found enlightenment not in rushing, but in the simplicity of sitting in silence, focusing on the breath, mastering the art of presence. Philosophers and thinkers also discovered this truth. Socrates often stood in silence, lost in reflection, before speaking words that shook minds. Newton discovered gravity, not while forcing himself in the lab, but while resting under a tree. Einstein often said imagination and insight came to him not when he strained, but when he let his mind wander freely. Their lives prove that breakthroughs are born not from endless doing, but from mindful pausing. And nature itself echoes the wisdom of the masters. The seed does not rush to become a tree. It rests in the soil until the season is right. The ocean retreats before it rises in waves. The heart pauses between beats, and in that pause, life is sustained. Simplicity and stillness are not interruptions to life's rhythm. They are its foundation. The masters and the natural world together remind us, greatness does not come from doing everything, but from doing less, with presence and purpose. Their wisdom calls us to simplify, to pause, to focus. For in mastering the art of doing less, we open ourselves to the possibility of achieving so much more, practicing simplicity. Knowing the wisdom of doing less is not enough. It must be practiced. The real transformation happens when you bring this truth into your daily life. The good news is that you don't need to abandon your responsibilities, move to the mountains, or live as a monk to practice simplicity. You can begin right here, right now, with small choices that shift your focus from busyness to meaning. Start with your mornings. The way you begin the day shapes everything that follows. Instead of grabbing your phone the moment you wake up, take a few minutes to sit quietly. Breathe deeply, express gratitude, and reflect on what truly matters today. Write down no more than 3 priorities, the tasks that will move you closer to your purpose. By doing this, you train yourself to focus on less, but achieve more. Throughout the day, practice the power of saying no. We often overcommit because we fear missing out or disappointing others. But every yes to something unimportant is a no to what truly matters. Learn to protect your time and energy. Ask yourself, does this align with my purpose? Will this bring me closer to peace or fulfillment? If not, give yourself permission to decline. Simplicity requires courage, but it frees you to live intentionally. Bring mindfulness into ordinary activities. When you walk, slow down and notice your steps. Feel the ground beneath your feet. When you eat, put away distractions and taste each bite. When you speak with someone, truly listen without preparing your reply. These simple acts turn everyday moments into sacred pauses. They remind you that life is not meant to be rushed. It is meant to be lived. Another powerful practice is creating space for stillness. Schedule short breaks during your day where you do nothing but breathe. Close your eyes, inhale slowly, exhale fully, and rest in silence. At first, your mind may recede, just throwing thoughts and worries at you. But with time, you will discover the calm that lives beneath the noise. These pauses are not wasted minutes. They are the fuel that gives power to your actions. Decluttering your environment also supports simplicity. When your surroundings are crowded, your mind feels crowded too. Remove what you don't need. Keep what brings value or joy. A clean space creates a clear mind, and a clear mind makes room for clarity and focus. Above all, practice gratitude. When you learn to appreciate what you already have, the urge to chase endlessly begins to fade. Gratitude simplifies your heart. It reminds you that abundance is not in having everything, but in valuing what you already hold. Practicing simplicity is not about doing less for the sake of less. It is about choosing wisely, living intentionally, and aligning with what truly matters. When you begin to live this way, you will notice something powerful. Though you do less, you accomplish more. Your actions carry weight, your life gains depth, and slowly you master the art of doing less, and in doing so achieve so much more. The closing message. As we reach the end of this journey together, take a moment to pause. Breathe in deeply and release slowly. Feel the stillness of this moment. In that pause lies the essence of everything we have spoken about. That true success does not come from doing more, but from mastering the art of doing less with purpose. The world around you will continue to glorify busyness. It will tell you that if you are not constantly moving, you are falling behind. It will pressure you to chase every opportunity, to say yes to every demand, to fill every silence with noise. But you now know the truth. Busyness is not the same as progress. Overdoing does not create fulfillment. It only creates exhaustion. When you choose simplicity, when you embrace doing less, you are not giving up. You are rising higher. You are choosing to live with intention, to focus your energy where it matters most, and to let go of what is meaningless. This is not weakness. This is mastery. This is how ordinary lives become extraordinary. Not through chaos, but through clarity. Think again of the magnifying glass. Scattered light warms gently, but focused light ignites fire. Your life is no different. When you focus your time, your energy, and your heart on fewer but deeper pursuits, you ignite a power that scattered effort could never create. Doing less allows you to move with precision. It transforms your every action into something impactful. The great masters we reflected on understood this truth. Buddha discovered enlightenment not through endless striving, but through stillness. Jesus found strength not in busyness, but in solitude and prayer. The Prophet Muhammad received revelation not in chaos, but in the silence of a cave. Their lives show us that doing less is not a barrier to greatness. It is the very path to it. And this wisdom is not reserved for saints, prophets, or philosophers. Yes, it belongs to you as well. You can begin today. You can simplify your mornings, choose your priorities wisely, and protect your pauses. You can eat mindfully, walk with awareness, listen with presence, and say no to distractions. These small choices, repeated daily, will shape your destiny. They will bring you peace, strength, and alignment. So as you leave this message, carry this truth within your heart. You do not need to do more to become more. You need to do less, but with clarity, focus, and love. For when you master the art of doing less, you will discover that you achieve not only more success, but more joy, more meaning, and more freedom. Simplify your steps, protect your pauses, focus on what truly matters, and watch as life opens in ways you never imagined. For in doing less, you will finally achieve so much more. As we come to the end of this journey, pause for just a moment. Breathe in deeply and let your breath go slowly. In this stillness, reflect on everything we have explored together. The message has been simple, yet life-changing. True success is not about doing more. It is about doing less, but doing it with clarity, focus, and intention. We began by shifting our perspective, realizing that much of our struggle comes from believing that busyness equals achievement. We saw how easily we fall into the trap of overdoing, filling our schedules, stretching ourselves thin, and chasing after everything, only to end up with nothing that truly satisfies. This endless motion drains our energy, leaving us exhausted rather than fulfilled. Then we uncovered the hidden power of doing less. We saw that simplicity is not weakness, but strength. Just as a magnifying glass turns scattered light into fire when it focuses, your life gains power when you focus on fewer but more meaningful pursuits. Doing less is about creating space for clarity, for creativity, for the things that matter most. We looked to the wisdom of the masters for guidance. From Buddha under the Bodhi tree, to Jesus seeking solitude, to the Prophet Muhammad in the stillness of the cave, every great teacher has shown us the same truth. Stillness, simplicity, and focus open the doorway to transformation. Even nature itself reflects this lesson. The seed rests before it grows, the ocean ebbs before it flows, and the heart pauses between beats. Doing less is not unnatural. It is the very rhythm of life. But wisdom must become practice. That is why we explored how to live this truth in our everyday lives. Through mindful mornings, choosing priorities wisely, learning to say no, creating space for silence, and embracing gratitude. These small acts of doing less are not escapes from responsibility. They are the path to, living more intentionally, more peacefully, and more powerfully. And now we arrive at the heart of the message. When you master the art of doing less, you do not achieve less, you achieve more. You achieve more peace in your spirit, more strength in your actions, more depth in your relationships, and more clarity in your purpose. Doing less allows you to align with what truly matters, and in that alignment lies the secret to lasting success. So, my friend, as you step forward from here, carry this truth within you. You do not need to prove your worth by how much you do. You only need to live with presence, focus, and intention. Simplify your steps. Protect your pauses. Trust that by doing less, you will open the door to achieving so much more, not only in your work, but in your life, your soul, and your journey toward fulfillment.